welcome to your daily dose of World of Warships Legends shenanigans. I am your host, as usual, Phoenix61. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I really do appreciate that. It helps me out quite a bit. I'm still kind of a smaller channel here, so your one subscription is noticed and appreciated. All YouTuber BS aside, we are in the Lightning today, right? This is the regular sort of tech line, tech tree as I like to call them, for the British destroyers. And, decent guns. You get smoke and sonar. No engine boost is kind of your style with these, right? And so what I'm looking at here is I'm checking out the enemy destroyers, right? We could see that there's two enemy destroyers. One was an Ostergotland and the other was a Jaeger. And I know kind of, the Ostergotland's guns are okay. I know the Jaeger's guns are absolute garbage, right? So, I'm hoping that with the way that I have this ship built out, that we could take on, we could 1v1 whatever destroyer happens to pop up, right? So, when it comes to someone saying, do your job, right, like that kind of thing, typically people expect destroyers to spot ships and capture and contest zones, but you always have to kind of take that with a grain of salt, right? Like, don't do that at the risk of your ship. So, you guys know me, like, I like to play, like, the Japanese torpedo boats quite a bit, right? Particularly the destroyers, which don't usually have the greatest guns, but you can build in concealment and torpedoes, right? So people will get angry with me for not, going in and trying to muscle it out within the zone, almost to the point where I'm like, would you rather just me die? I could be dead, right, if you're expecting me to muscle it out. But with this ship, and we know what we're up against, I am pushing up hard because I'm a little bit confident that I can probably outgun whoever shows up, right? So Ostergotland here doesn't look like he's looking at us, and I don't see his guns firing at all. So I'm guessing he's either lining up torpedoes. Most likely he's lining up torpedoes towards our, our battleship allies that are off to our left, right, that are off to our port side. So we're going to take full advantage, right? So I do trigger our sonar. We get long duration sonar with these, right? It doesn't reach very far, right? Like so, but I'm going to just chase this guy down, right? We're not taking too bad of hits from the two battleships over here, right? This is those scenarios where I was like, if just one of my battleships would have shot at this Ostergotland, he'd be dead, right? Like, he'd be dead by now, right? Like, we're doing our duty, trying to get rit of him. I know I've got great guns with decent HE shells, so I'm using full advantage of that. But their battleships took shots at me, right? But my teammates didn't do didn't give me the same courtesy, right? So to speak. But yeah, like, I get it, when you're a battleship, you don't like to shoot at the destroyers, but keep in mind that your XP and, like, earnings and stuff at the end of the match, shooting ships is, how much damage you do to them, like raw damage, isn't as big of a deal when it comes to your positioning on the leaderboard and your score at the end of the game, as much as it is percent damage dealt to that ship, right? So even an over penetration from a battleship on a destroyer is going to be pretty valuable to you if that's what you're going for, right? But also, most importantly, just having that destroyer off the board that early in the game makes a huge difference. But we kind of knew what this Ostergotland's plan was going to be, right? He took a lot of damage, so he's trying to get away. So basically, I just hunted him down. We do have Twist and Track to help us hunt him down. And then since we did fire within range of these battleships, we're still spotted this time, right? So I'll drop my smoke here so that we go undetected, and then it doesn't really matter. We don't need to stay in it, right? I just wanted to not be spotted after firing the guns. So once we went undetected, I can move freely about the map and just stay out of detection range of these two battleships. And my thought here, too, is these guys are kind of both backing up. They know I'm here. They're in fear of the destroyer, right? So typically, if people are really, committed to moving away from objectives, I typically don't chase them down, right? So I'm actually going to see if I can help hunt down the remaining destroyer, right? There's still a Jaeger left, right? And we see a bunch of torpedoes here take out our battleship. So I'm assuming he's at least somewhat close by. I think Jaeger's torpedo range is probably like 12 kilometers or something. Like it's a long one, right? So, but yeah, we could see our twist and track, right? Our guiding bar thingy, right? That's our halo, whatever you want to call this. That's above our reticle. We can see that it's, you know, not pointed at the battleships, the enemy battleships anymore. It's pointed in this direction, right? And then we also very obviously can tell that the A cap is contested now. So this worked out for us, right? I didn't have to go across the map to chase down this Jaeger, which might not have been the best thing to do, right? That'd be time consuming, but since he's here, we're going to take advantage of it. Our other destroyer was also a like mindset, right? And that's what's going to be super valuable for us in this game. We can hunt down this Jaeger. He's got him spotted. Jaeger does not have smoke. We've given him engine damage at this point that it looks like he can't deal with, right? So he must be on damage con cooldown. We did get a shot from a battleship over there, I think, finally, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, teamwork makes the dream work there, and he goes down. Yep, battleship got credit for that kill, so we get a fisted medal here, or fisted banner. And then that's going to be huge for us, right? Like, just so this is kind of where I'm getting at with this game and this replay, right? Like, I don't know if we end up with a really big score here, but basically just like, you know, kind of, we know the strengths of our boat. We've got the sonar, we've got the short duration smoke, we've got pretty decent guns, and I kind of built into those a little bit too. And so if I know that it's not a like completely dedicated gunboat destroyer that I'd be going up against, I know I can probably deal with him one-on-one if I needed to, right? It's where that you gotta be a little bit careful, right, going in and pushing up that hard. Like if they, for example, if they had a good cruiser on, you know, that flank, that might have been a little bit more risky to do what I did, right? So it's all situational. It's, you know, I think people watch replays of others on like YouTube and like, okay, this guy played a cruiser, he took this route on this map, I'm going to do the same thing, and then you get your butt kicked, right? So it's all circumstance, it's all situational. Play to your ship's strengths. And if you know the strengths and weaknesses of the ships you're going up against, that's huge as well, right? So that's part of why like I enjoy playing every ship, even if I hate it, right? Like I try and play a little bit of everything because then it kind of gives me that idea. And then when I see that ship out on the water, I kind of know what I'm up against and what I'm dealing with, right? So, but yeah, we will go. And now that we've got all three zones capped, right? This is kind of what I'm getting at too. I typically avoid, you know, I tend to shy away from enemies that are just leaving objectives, right? That aren't, you know, if they're not committed to try and retaking a zone, I'll just let them kite away, right? Like just let them go. You got to remember the battle is only 15 minutes long, and especially for a battleship, look at these two battleships that spawn on our flank, right? Like they're all the way in the back of the map. If they needed to come back in and cap, like, say, Zone B, right, even if they win that fight on that flank and they take out our battleship and cruiser that are over here with me, it would still take them, like, 3 or 4 minutes to just get back into that zone. And by that time, we might be so far ahead on points that it just doesn't matter anymore, right? So we see a Takahashi here, and it looks like these guys are going to, you know, they're kind of realizing what's happening on this flank at least, and they know they're going to need to start pushing up and pushing in order to take this game back, right? We are technically down 2 ships now, right? It's 4 on 6 at this point. So this is kind of where I was getting, right? We're going to focus on the objectives, right? So since my flank, the enemies over there kind of abandoned that one, that's why I made my way over to this flank, and now we can support, right? So we'll drop our smoke, our destroyer ally is spotting these guys still, and so now we're able to just get these defend ribbons, which is huge, right? We're keeping this zone out of enemy hands, so that's why I'm switching between targets here too, just to get the reset, right? You want to hit everybody a little bit if you can. That's capturing the zone, and that way you get these defend banners, which are great for XP earnings as well. Keep that in mind, right? If you're trying to go full bore on that. And then yeah, the Delaware sent his airstrike torpedoes through our zone, so we were able to dodge those. I got the sonar going because we know Takahashi has lots and lots of torpedoes as well with great firing angles. If you watch my channel, that is one of my favorite ships. I play it way too much, so we know what we're dealing with there, right? And then we'll just hold off on firing our guns here because we would get spotted if we were to fire our guns, right? We don't have too much health left. Takahashi's got pretty great, HE shells, right? Lots of turrets. So he could do a number on us if we were to get ourselves spotted. So not going to take that risk. We're going to play it safe. We're going to try and make this a points game. We've lost another ship, so it's 3-on-5 now. And Massachusetts, I don't know if he just doesn't realize we're here. But we'll fire torpedoes towards him. I was just double checking all my other targets, right? There were just too many ships in that zone, so it still got capped. I think the battleship on the other side of the cap here, I wasn't able to hit, and then this Massachusetts came in, right? So we lost the zone, but we're still at a points advantage, and we still have 2 zones to their 1. So we will just continue to play this side. And if these guys leave, right, which they kind of have to, right, like they kind of need to go and push into the other zones if they want to have a chance at winning this. So I'll hang out here, see what we can do to this Massachusetts that is quite healthy still at this point, full health still. There's another thing I kind of preach on my channel, right? If you're a battleship player and it's getting to be late game and you've got full health still, right, you're kind of doing a disservice to your team. You want to do you want to draw some fire throughout, right? Like obviously don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to completely get your butt kicked, but as a battleship, you can take some of those hits, and if you're taking hits, you're taking them away from your teammates too. So, but yeah, just my word of, my thought for the day, right? So we did get 1 torpedo hit on the Massachusetts. I was kind of hoping that we could get some more here. And we do. He turns away, which is usually not the best thing to do, but it's fine. He avoided the others, so he still took another hit. And we got a little lucky there because it looks like we got a flood on him. And then, yeah, I dropped the smoke in hopes that somebody else had him spotted, but if you look at the minimap, right, we've only got 2 other ships left at this point. So we'll move out of the smoke screen just to be able to see where he's going. We know we've got torpedoes about to be loaded again there, so we'll send that rack. But I'm going to guess he's going to try and just leave the area at this point because that's what I would do if I was him. Getting sort of hunted and picked on by a destroyer that's not willing to get spotted is not where you want to be as a battleship, so typically you move away from that situation, right? So we fired a new rack of torps, and we're going to have another set loaded here. So I'm just going to fire it through the alleyway here. He may get to a point where he's, moved far enough away, right, as he starts accelerating, but we'll send him. And then we'll start moving in towards the zone, right? We'll just kind of keep an eye on our detectability range in comparison to where he is, and we'll move back into the zone. But yeah, you can see we still got this points lead, and then if we get into the C cap, right, the enemy won't be earning points on that capture while it's contested, so we'll get and move in here. Our detectability is 5.6, he's 6.6 away, so we've got some wiggle room here. We'll move in and contest the zone. And then as he moves out, we would start capturing it back. And see if we get lucky with a torpedo hit here as well. But yeah, the red team's doing what they should, right? They're going, capping those zones. Our allied cruiser that is left was also doing the smart thing, and he is kiting away and just trying to stay alive. Right, if you get into this situation where points are going to, the game's going to come down to points and time, right? Just trying to stay alive can be important, right? Because if you lose a ship on your team, right, if you die, that takes away some of that. Not only gives the other team some points, but also takes some of yours away, right? So you just have to keep in mind there's a point swing there that can make a difference with those last second kills. Can put you over the top or put you underneath right on points. So they've got all 3 zones capped now, but like I said, they're at least not earning points on this one. And so, yeah, we've got enough wiggle room that I think even if we lost our cruiser, we might still be okay. I think this Massachusetts might realize, like, okay, maybe I've got to go and hunt down this destroyer, right? So, yeah, just speak about it. It's going to be too late at this point, right? 30 seconds left in the game. We will see what the leaderboard looks like once this one's over, and then I'll go through my build, too, like I normally do. But, yeah, Massachusetts left the zone. I don't need to get spotted, right? We're going to have this one. Let's just move away and make sure we do the smart thing and don't have any chance of getting spotted or shot at, right? So we'll move away, let the timer tick out, and win the game. We send a nice work to our ally that's still alive as well. That played an important part also. But yeah, that's a good kind of sort of game of just like good demonstration of, know your ship, right? Do your role, do your part, right? In which, we just happen to be, the right tool for the job, with dealing with the enemy destroyers. That does put us at the top spot on the leaderboard, walked away with a decent amount of credits. And then here's my build, right? I use aiming system mod a lot. The British, a lot of their ships don't have propulsion mod, so we went steering gears there. Concealment for the third slot. I do have AA here just because, at tier 7, right, there's a good chance that there's going to be a carrier in there, but you could do the gun control fire system, right? Like you do you there. But that's why I picked the AA option. Sims for inspiration and Vincent Mordoff for a little bit better reload there. So almost a full free-to-play build. I think Vincent Mordoff's the only one I have in there that's a sort of free-to-play commander, but or a paid commander, right? But this is one where I think you could pick a lot of these different options and still be, I think there's a lot of good choices with this commander to kind of suit your play style. But you can see here, this is how I have it built out, right? So we've got Perceptive there. That's what was giving us the sort of indicator of the nearest enemy. And then Unstoppable is almost always my go-to when it comes to the legendary perk. So that way you have that. You still have some mobility and maneuverability, right, when you have engine damage or steering gear damage, right? So that's kind of my go-to. But thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you're still here, if you have made it all the way through, really do appreciate those that, sort of interact with my channel, comment, watch live streams, and all that other fun stuff. So let me know your thoughts and feelings down in the comments as usual, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Like I said, really do appreciate that. We do Legends videos just about every day, so we will see you guys again tomorrow.